Hi, welcome to the Adventures of Alcaraz podcast. My name is Julian Alcaraz.
And I'm Miranda Alcaraz, and this is week 10 to 11. I'm 11 weeks pregnant now, so week 10 to 11 of the pregnancy update podcast.
Yeah, we've had a pretty fun week, actually. It's been a lot.
Have we?
It's been an adventurous week for sure as far as the growth of baby has been going. We started off earlier. This was an exciting week for us because we went to go do what's the test called?
NIPT, non-invasive prenatal testing.
Mm-hmm. Which is what?
So the non-invasive prenatal testing is, I think it can be made available to anyone. They really recommend anyone over 35 does it because it's tests for potential genetic abnormalities in your fetus. So, and I say potential because it won't tell you 100% if you have a genetic problem, and it doesn't test for like all genetic issues. It tests for like Down syndrome and a couple other things that I'm not even going to try to remember the names of. And I guess the older you are, the more likely those things are to happen. So once you're past 35, I think your insurance covers it. You can request it before then, but it also will tell you the gender of your baby.
Which is pretty much the purpose of us doing it.
I mean, I think it's good maybe to do it anyway, just to know. But yeah, that's why we were excited to do it.
Yeah, we get really excited about that stuff. Remember last time with Knox, we didn't really wait. As soon as we got the email, we just opened it up.
Well, we didn't really realize that it was just going to come in. I don't think we realized it was going to come in an email, and then we were just opening an email, and all of a sudden it was like, click here to learn the gender of your baby. It was like,
we're like, wow.
One of those emails that you get like saying like, click here to redeem your $1 million check or whatever. You're like, what? Should I click this, or is this going to be a virus? So we had your mom click it last time because we wanted to find out at the same time.
Yeah.
So I would say earlier in the week, though, I was feeling better. I haven't been as nauseous this week. I will say that. And I wasn't as tired, I don't feel like, for the first few days of the week. And then the last, 3 days or something, it's, come back real hard.
Yeah, it really hit you. Mm-hmm. One of the mornings you came upstairs and you had a feeling of overwhelmingness happen, and you just were exhausted.
I couldn't even function to make Knox breakfast. I had been up with him since just after 6, and then tried to get him to fall back asleep with me after I changed his diaper, and of course he was whispering in my ear, "I want a sandwich."
That's so random.
Which is so weird for a 2-year-old to say. And he was like, "Want bacon?" While I was trying to sleep, and so I took him downstairs and. We were just watching TV, and I made some coffee, and then I went to go make him breakfast, and I was like, I can't do this. I'm so tired. So I came and got you at 7:30 to switch.
What would you say, what gets in your head when you're feeling like that? I'm assuming it gets pretty frustrating.
Yeah, it's just no matter, and the cool thing about doing this podcast and the vlog and everything is the number of people that have reached out and told me their stories, because my goal was to make people not feel so alone in what they're going through, but in turn, I've had so many people reach out to me, so it's actually probably been more helpful for me in some cases. And so yeah, people will say I could sleep for 12 hours and wake up and still be exhausted, and that's kind of how I felt. I would say the last 3 or 4 days, it's been pretty bad. And it's frustrating because we have a lot to do, we have a lot going on, and a lot of things that are, including our child, that kind of rely on me to be able to function, and I just don't feel like it's working very well.
Right. One of the things that you also got done this week that was pretty exciting, which was part of your pregnancy and wanting something different and new, you got bangs.
Oh, I know. I do have the bangs. If you're just listening to the audio version, you can't see the bangs. But, yeah, well, so I last week talked about how this is a pregnancy symptom. So you weren't here last week because you were in Vegas. But I talked about how the hair cutting thing I found out is a very common pregnancy symptom, because when I posted that I was thinking about getting bangs, everyone was telling me oh my gosh, I chopped my hair off, or I did this to my hair, or I wanted to do this, or I cut bangs. And so I just went with it. And yeah, so now I have the bangs, the pregnancy bangs, we'll call them.
How have you felt now that they've settled in a little bit? I know it's going to take some more time, but How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm still getting used to doing them and having them in my eyeballs. But, I mean, I'm glad that I did it.
Yeah.
It's just something fun and different.
I mean, they look great, baby. They look beautiful. It's nice.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So that was the same day. So we got the bangs on the same day that we did the blood test.
Yeah. So that was a long day.
It was a long day. And workouts have been okay, other than I've just been so exhausted.
Have you noticed that have you had to do any more adjustments or modifications as the weeks go on? Have you changed anything up?
The only thing I've really modified is the like toes to bar and sit-ups and that kind of thing. I'll take stuff out that I don't necessarily need to modify yet, but like might as well. Like double unders, I didn't do double unders this week. I could still totally do those fine, but eventually I'm going to have to take them out anyway.
So you're already making the changes.
Well,
you're like,
then I have to like do my hair different, and it's like, whatever. I'll just take them out now. I haven't been really running, which I could still do. Actually, I could still run, but in my first pregnancy, I got pretty bad like pubic bone pain. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
When I would run, and the couple times I have run lately, I've gotten it a little bit. So I'm not running.
Yeah. You took some pics. Actually, it was like your 11 week because you pulled up like a previous pic from Knox at 11 weeks to now. How did that make you feel?
Yeah, I remembered, for some reason, I randomly remembered that I took an 11-week pic. We were taking like weekly pics with Knox until, I don't know, like 16 weeks, and then we got way too busy and it kind of stopped. Mm-hmm. But I remember that I had one, so I took another one just to see side by side. And I mean, the only real differences, other than these bangs, is the shape of my belly is just rounder. Mm-hmm. But that's been true ever since I had Knox. Like, even before I was pregnant, the shape of my belly has just never been the same as it was before. I'm 2 pounds lighter than I was when I was 11 weeks with Knox, but that's definitely muscle. Because we just don't lift as heavy as we used to back then. Yeah. And I was more tan, that's for sure. My favorite, though, is in the comments section of people being like, "Why did you smile in the photo?" And
oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
First of all,
aggressive.
This picture isn't of my face. Like, I wasn't even looking at my face because they're like mirror selfies, right?
Yeah.
There were like at least 10 comments of like, "Why did you smile?" or "The expression says it all." And I'm like, okay. And then there was literally a comment today that I read. Of course, it was a man that was like, "Shit's really wearing you down."
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, yeah, it turns out having a toddler, being in your first trimester, and running a business is fucking tiring. Sorry. Like, you know, like why would you type that?
I don't know. It's unfortunate that people have to make comments like that because they don't. It's true. Like, unless you put yourself in someone else's shoes and live their life, like you have, like your comments just don't make sense. Like they don't. Yeah. They mean nothing. So yeah.
And
it's
also,
ridiculous.
on some of them were like people that I recognized that were like, "You should smile," or whatever. And I just put like, this isn't like a look at my cute baby bump and how perfect my life is photo. Like I wasn't trying to like be cute in the photo. I was literally taking a picture for like, scientific isn't the word I'm looking for, but it was just like to document. Like this isn't like a look at me and my cute pregnant belly bump photo smile with like, you know.
Yeah, you're just but people overthink it sometimes.
Yeah. And so I would respond to them like, "Hey, this was just a picture of what my body looks like." And also, like, I'm not trying to fake that I wasn't exhausted.
But you know what's funny is that, let's just say you smiled. Then who gets offended if you do smile? Be like, "Oh, you look so perfect now," like as if nothing's wrong. So it's like, you never, there's no winning. It's just like, wow.
Yeah. I actually, like last week, and I don't know if I said this in the podcast last week, but I felt like I wasn't as emotional. That came back with the I think the tiredness and the emotional thing is tied together because when you're tired, you're just more emotional anyways. That's true.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, so I've definitely been like, I mean, yeah, kind of that same day that I told you I was overwhelmed with breakfast. I was just the night before. No, it was the night before.
It just was all like a combination the night before.
I was scrolling through Facebook as we do because we do that a lot for street parking just to keep up with our members. And we have 17,000 people stories that we read. And so a lot of those are not always happy. And one of our members who has 3 kids, and I know exactly who she is, she's very like well known in our community, had posted that her first child didn't live past 22 hours. I had no idea about that. How long was I crying for? I was sobbing for like 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was just like, just let me know when you need me.
I know every time you'd ask me what was wrong, I couldn't even speak.
Yeah, I was like, all right. And at that point for me, I knew that I just had to kind of let you go through your emotions. And there was no trying to talk about it because, yeah, you had seen something.
Yeah, well, I think just like getting the test this week and then having that happen was like, if you can hear our child crying in the background of this podcast.
I'll step out and I'll let you finish.
He's being babysat right now, and he wants to be in here. I'll tell you guys the story. So basically, yeah, we just see, with having the test this week and seeing that kind of stuff, there's just so much worry and anxiety that it goes with it. And so this like waiting, because, yeah, we are waiting to hear the gender, and we'll be happy no matter what with that, but waiting also for these test results of if there's any genetic issues. And one of the genetic issues is Down syndrome, which I've actually had a good amount of experience being around people with Down syndrome. My mom works as a special education assistant, or worked as a special education assistant the whole time I was in junior high and high school. And since then, I think she just retired like less than 6 months ago. And I would have no problem with raising a Down syndrome child. Not that it would be easy. I'm just saying I would be totally down to do it. But there's some other stuff in there where if it tests positive, the child has like a 5% chance of living a year. And so those ones are really scary. So this like waiting game to hear back that everything's okay is like really hard. And so I think just reading that, and I still don't know how that baby passed away or anything. And then, of course, I got a DM today, which was like telling me about how she got her NIPT results and had to do a medical, I don't want to call it abortion, but they had to like terminate the baby for medical reasons based on the results of her test. And it's just like, oh man. So the tiredness mixed with that. And I just like lost it for like 45 minutes. So, yeah. I haven't been able to eat normal at night. I've like, our normal food just hasn't tasted good to me. I'll be hungry and I'll go to eat it, and it's just, I'm like, ugh. And so I'll either end up having just an extra slice of toast, or we've eaten out a few more times. Just during the day, I'm fine. I don't know why. It's like that dinner meal, like 8 p.m. that I'm having a hard time eating enough. But yeah, I would say the biggest milestones this week were the bangs and the blood test, and we should have the results for the blood test and the gender and everything by the time we record next week. So they said 5 to 10 business days. So if it's 10, we won't have it yet. But if it's 5, we'll definitely have it by like Tuesday, Wednesday. They're going to call us. And we were talking the other night. I was like, well, what if they call me and you're not here? And he's like, well, just call, like dial me in. And I'm like, okay, but like if it accidentally hangs up, then I call him back and the doctor's not available anymore. Like that's really sketchy. Because it's not like the doctor's going to sit around and wait for me to call back. The other option is we can have them write it down and put it in an envelope. But then it's kind of far away. It's like maybe 25 minutes away. Then we got to drive all the way over there. And what if they call it like 4:30 and they say, well, if you're going to do that, you can't come till tomorrow. So we're still deciding how we're going to get that info. We're not going to do like a reveal. I'm pretty personal when it comes to like that sort of thing. So I would want myself and Julian, or myself, Julian, and Knox to find out alone first so we can kind of process it. But we'll probably do something fun for the office and the people here so that they can guess what it is, and then, do something silly. But yeah, we'll be stoked either way as long as the baby is healthy. And that same night that I was crying all night, now that I can remember, is we have 2 of our trainers, Carolina and Jeb. She was in labor that same day, and I hadn't heard from them since 4 p.m., and it was now like 10 p.m., and I was really worried that something went wrong, because at 4, they were like, oh, she's pushing, and then 6 hours later, still nothing, so I think the anxiety from them, too, added to that. So don't do that to your friends, guys. Give them some updates if possible, or like hand your phone to someone else and be like, can you text the following 3 people? I don't know. But everything was fine. Their baby's beautiful and fine, and they're at home now, and it's all good. So that's it for week 11, and big news hopefully coming in week 12. We'll see you guys later.